Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 70 of the Run in the Paint podcast. I'm Miles here with Nick, Joey, and Jackson. Guys, how are you doing today?
Feeling good, man. I'm really happy to be here. You've been watching the last couple episodes. You know, this is a pretty anticipated episode, I guess you could say. And I'm just happy that we're all here to share our list, and I'm excited to share mine. I had a lot of fun making it. I'm really happy that I'm here to hear your guys' list.
Full squad for the full top 50 players. It's going to be an exciting and very disagreeable list, I can already tell.
If you're an idiot, maybe if you have a bad list, but my list is perfect.
Okay.
Well, we'll see about that.
There's Jackson for you. I mean, if this is your first time listening, you basically get to hear how all previous 69 episodes with Jackson have gone here. Just from his first opening statements. But that is right. We have the top 50 players list in the last, 4 episodes. We have done the top 10 players at each position, all culminating in this top 50 list. Now, this is a little bit different than our previous top 10 lists. We have each made our own individual top 50 lists. They were all sent to me. I crunched the numbers to make a combined list of all of us with all the players at their averages. So this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm the only one that knows each of these spots, and there are definitely some shockers here. I'm excited to get into this. So I guess let's just get into it. I mean, first, main disclaimer, just like the top 10 list, we kind of made an agreement with injured players. If you did not play 50 games or more, then you are not on this list. So no Joel Embiid, no LaMelo Ball, no John Morant, no Desmond Bane, no Julius Randle. Those would have been probably the 5 candidates to make this list who were injured, but none of those guys are on the list due to injury. Besides that, you guys ready to get going? You guys got anything you want to say?
No, yeah. Can I get started?
Let's do this.
All right,
All right.
Yeah,
number 50. So number 50 on the list is Evan Mobley. Combined, he was on 3 of our 4 lists, and he was exactly number 50 for Jackson and Nick. And it kind of makes sense at this point because, like you said, Joey, he played in 50 games exactly. Had a good year. I mean, if you want us to, or you want to hear us talk more in depth about each of these players, you can go back, watch the 4 previous videos. We probably won't talk in depth about these players as much, but Evan Mobley, number 50 on the list.
Yeah, that's where I had him until we had a slight mishap where I forgot to put DeMar on. So I think Evan Mobley got slid down one spot. He'll be at 51, but he still averages to 50 on our combined list, which is right where he should be. Yeah, I think he's a good guy to have there. Joey, who'd you have at 50?
If I slid everyone down because I also forgot about another player, it would probably be, I think I had Mikal Bridges who would have slid down there at 50. Mobley was just missed for me, so I'm totally happy. I'm always happy putting another Cavalier on the top 50. I only had one.
Yeah, I wanted to start with a Cavalier to take some heat off of me for Miles and Joey for the rest of my list because I know that might help me later on, but unfortunately, I think he did get slid down one. So
he's still able to make the list at this point.
I have 2 other Cavs on my list, by the way, just to point that out there.
Oh, well, that is interesting. So there are, obviously, because there are 50 players, I haven't gone in and totaled up the actual pool of players that we put in here, but there are a decent amount of players that will not end up making this list, and we'll get to figure out those players as we move along here. Actually, these next 3 players, 49, 48, and 47, are 3 players that were not on I guess number 49 was on some of our top 10 small forwards lists, and that's Michael Porter Jr. He is able to slide in there at number 49. And then 48 and 47 are 2 players that we were not able to talk about in the top 10 videos because the point guard list was very stacked. We got 2 point guards here. 48, Cade Cunningham from the Pistons, and then James Harden at number 47.
I'd rather have DG than Harden. Just saying.
Yeah, no, the point guard list was so stacked that Cade and James both didn't make it for me. They were just outside, I guess, at 11 and 12. But I did have them in the low 40s, in the mid 40s on my list here. So They definitely deserve to be in the top 50, I think, at this point.
I actually had Cade exactly at 48 before I had to move him down because of the forgetful player. But he had a fantastic year. It was just a shame he's in Detroit.
Yeah, I
It
had
really
Cade
is.
Cade was 45 for me, and then James Harden was 42. I had him a little higher because he's still a 10 assist guy and
Yeah.
does a lot out there for the Clippers, scoring when Kawhi's down or PG ain't in the game.
Yeah, very curious to see how Harden will play this upcoming year now that Paul George is gone. But Cade Cunningham, to your point, Joey, I mean, he really did have a great year. I mean, it may be overshadowed because the Pistons were so historically awful last season. But when you think about 23 points, 7.5 assists per game with no shooting or spacing whatsoever on that team, the fact that he was able to put up 23 and 7 still per game on 45% from the field, 36% from three. He did kind of break out in his third year, and that's kind of what you hope to see from players entering their third season, especially a number one pick who only played in 12 games the previous season. He came in, he looked great. He improved in nearly every single area. He's just on the, garbage Pistons, so, it's a
Yeah.
little bit overlooked.
I was about to say, I'm looking at his numbers and that 3-point percentage. He's been averaging 5 threes a game throughout his first 3 years, but his first year was 31.5%, 28% last year. And again, you said he only played 12 games. And then this year is 35.5%. That's a huge jump up. That is a huge improvement. And under the new coaching of JB Bickerstaff, I honestly can only see him getting better as well.
Yeah, he's got to get at least above league average. I mean,
Yeah.
37, 38, 39 would be ideal.
Yeah, absolutely. And if the Pistons could win more, I pointed this number out a few episodes ago when we were talking about the Pistons, probably the fact that Cade, in his 3-year career for the Pistons, has won a total of 54 games, or the Pistons have won 54 games since drafting Cade Cunningham over 3 years. That's terrible.
Yeah,
I mean,
teams get that in a year. A lot of teams get that in a year.
Yeah.
yeah.
How many coaches, too, by the way? I'm curious because this will be his third or fourth coach in 4 years.
How many coaches? JB Bickerstaff will be his third coach in the same amount of years because they had Monty Williams last year and then Dwayne Casey, who was there. And it's, funny. Those two guys, really good regular season head coaches are known to be before hitting that Detroit scenario. But anyways, 47. Yes, we mentioned James Harden still had a decent season, had some moments in the playoffs. Little inconsistent, but I mean, James Harden, he still is able to give you those high scoring, high assist games. We kind of talked a lot about how, like, he's either looking like, maybe not Houston Rockets level James Harden, but
Yeah,
he's either giving you like 25 and 10 or
Yeah.
he's giving you like nothing and you don't even
Yeah.
notice it. It's the highs and lows are incredible with James Harden at this point.
I thought we were going over like each of our lists like individually up and down.
That would take forever.
That would go forever.
Well,
That's why we said we'd do it differently and do the combined list.
Yeah, that works.
Top
Top 25.
So now,
should do that.
number 46 is the newest member of the New York Knicks, Mikal Bridges, falling in at number 46, and that's kind of right in the middle of where we all had him. I had him at 48. Joey, well, I will say, so the numbers that I have on my list, they were written down before we took care of some, mishaps like Joey and Nick were talking about, but all the same, it's basically a one number difference than, their actuality in their ranking. But Mikal Bridges, I had him at 48. Jackson had him at 40, Nick 44, Joey 49. So all in that 40s range. So falling in right at number 46, I mean, makes sense.
Yep.
Number 45, we've got Franz Wagner from the Orlando Magic. Had a very good year last year. This is actually pretty low for Joey. Joey had Franz at number 37 on the list.
Yep, I had him cracking the top 40. He had a great year outside of his 3-point shooting, and his playoffs were very, very inconsistent. So I personally have no issue with him being in the late 40s or mid 40s. I missed a lot of players. It's been a long week. I tried to get this list. I kind of did it last minute. Sorry, y'all, but hey, I think Franz is still a good player.
What you're saying is Franz should be even lower, and that you really pulled up his ranking.
Probably. I would probably put him low 40s. Still not that low, but I would.
I have him at 49. He barely made the list.
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
Wild.
I mean, we noticed to start this list that we have a lot of players that can be inconsistent at certain points, and that's kind of why they're at this point. I mean, in order for them to increase on this list, you got to get that consistency, like the players at the top of this list, have shown for many years. Well, for the most part, we'll get to a certain player that Nick and I are kind of going crazy about being pretty high on the list. But number 44, we've got the Defensive Player of the Year, Rudy Gobert, at 44. This may have been one of the most agreeable things, actually, that we had on this list. We had him all between 41 and 46, so pretty close range. Rudy Gobert, number 44 on the list. 43, we've got Bradley Beal, a bit of a polarizing player last season. Oh gosh, what is it? That's where you had him?
On the dot.
Nice.
Oh, Jackson's making money off his Bradley Beal takes. Excited to see where he could jump up this season. I mean, he could be a player that may fall out of this list.
He's falling out of everything. He sucks.
He was number 43 on the list.
He's definitely lower than he was going into last year by like a pretty fair margin. But I don't think he's going to fall off the face of the earth. I mean, he's still going to have a role out there as the third guy in Phoenix. And KD and Booker aren't always on the court. So, I don't see him. I think he averaged like 18 this year. Still pretty good assist numbers.
Efficiency.
Yeah, good efficiency. I don't think he turns the rock over too much. I think he's a vet.
I mean, I think he's funny because he once said that his teammates on the Wizards couldn't guard a parked car. That made me laugh.
Yeah, it's like Kobe stuff right
there.
That
was a fact. That was definitely a fact.
He's not Kobe. Don't know.
Former 30-point per game scorer.
31. Sure, 31.
Yeah, 31 in his heyday with the Washington Wizards. Now, moving on to number 42 on the list, this is where we have J-Dub, Jalen Williams from the OKC Thunder, making this, number 42 spot, which is great after his second season. I mean, for him to jump up all the way into this spot on the list, I mean, we're all big J-Dub fans, and, I think this is a very well-deserved spot.
As I say, I think I had him just outside my top 10 for power forwards, but on this list, I had him at 43. So literally right there at that
I had him 46. A little lower, but okay.
Yeah, Nick, you and I actually both had him at 39. So we had him a little bit higher than this spot. But, I mean, it makes sense. The players that are above him a little bit more established so far have gotten a couple more accolades. Like these next couple players, number 41 is Jaren Jackson Jr.
Okay.
And actually, funny enough, the reason that he is this high is because Joey had him at number 34.
I did.
On the list. The rest of us had him around this 41 range, but because of the 34, it jumped him up a little bit.
Why are you looking at me like I'm crazy? How many times do I have to tell you when I texted y'all in that group chat saying I was rushing and I just wrote random names down sometimes?
No, I like it because Miles made a good point that he is more established in the league than some of these other guys we mentioned already, like Cade or whether it be even Mikal. I don't know. Mikal's like
even with how bad Memphis was, he played more games than Desmond Bane, so they had to rely on him for 90% of probably the offensive load. And he's still an elite defender, so
I think he's in a good spot on our list.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
mind him being around the 40s either.
36.
Well, I had him low. I had him at 46.
I'm tired of this shocked face. Like, you shouldn't be shocked. I already gave you and told you all about me just putting random names down. So,
well, Spotify
change your stupid face, please.
So,
Jackson's got the Michael Jordan shrug face going on right now.
Yep.
Okay, Michael Jordan and Jackson should never be in the same sentence ever.
It's like comparing Bradley Beal.
Either way, you're getting cooked.
Oh, all right. Well, number 40 is where we have another defensive-minded player. We got Drew Holiday at number
Yes.
40, coming
On
off
the
his
head, on the nose.
second NBA championship, and now Jackson's giving the shock face because he's the one that had Drew Holiday a lot higher. Had him number 33 on his
it was
list.
34. 34.
I
Whoa.
told you it's one spot over because you forgot a player as well on here. So these are the
I
numbers
actually
I have
forgot two
before we
players,
switch
but it's
to
okay.
players.
We're forgiven.
So, but yeah, Drew Holiday, number 40 on the list. You know, all these Celtics players just had that came over the last couple seasons, just great impact on the Celtics winning the championship this season. Number 39, first-time All-Star Scotty Barnes from the Toronto Raptors. This is a player that kind of had a wide range of different spots. The highest I had him at number 34. Nick was the lowest, had him at number 47. So a wide range of players.
Well, you guys know I left him off my small forward list.
He's a power forward.
Or the power forward list.
You know what I mean?
It's position.
Yeah, he didn't make my power forward list, so at least he cracked the top 50 here.
Hey. What?
Scotty had a fantastic year, man. He really did. Again, it's another shame that the Raptors are just god awful.
They're rebuilding.
It works. It works. So I mean, they got time to rebuild with him still super young. Had that big breakout season to become an all-star there. Number 38.
He was a fill-in all-star.
He was also an all-star is an all-star. I mean,
is Derek White not an Olympian because he was a fill-in Olympian? Like, what are you talking about?
Exactly. Like when you look at their resume, it doesn't say replacement.
What are we doing here?
They're an all-star.
Replacement.
All right, number 38 is a player that we I don't remember if any of us had him on our top 10 point guard list. It was Jamal Murray making number 38.
I definitely had him on there.
I had him as 10, I think, on my point guard list.
You watch him in the Olympics, he stinks.
Yeah, I have Jamal Murray a lot higher.
Where?
He's still a part of the best duo in the NBA. I've heard you say that.
Not the best duo. Are you high?
Well, he is. I mean, he is half of the best duo in the NBA for sure, at least the best two-man game.
Dude, you clearly have not seen Aaron Holiday and Jock Landale.
Okay. To Igagle's defense, that is kind of an unstoppable duo.
Except when Aaron Holiday forgets to shoot, which is like once every 3 games, but it's okay.
I think Jamal Murray's getting a lot of hate recently that's undeserving.
Yeah, I agree. I actually have him exactly at 38. I think I nailed that right on the coffin.
I have him at 40, I believe.
I actually
39.
I think I had him. Yeah, I had him lower. This might be one where I'm underrating him. I had him at 47. Very low. Mainly because of his playoffs in the Minnesota series where he was inconsistent a lot, and that's what I kind of talked about when we were talking about him in the top 10 point guard list about how it was different this year. How you really didn't know what you were going to get from Jamal Murray in the playoffs. He's been known to be a playoff riser, but definitely not mad at him being this high on the list because he is a legit player, and like you said, Nick, he's half of the best two-man duo in the league. So definitely fair enough. Sorry to all you Jonathan Williams and Boban Marjanovic fans. 37 is Derek White.
That's right where I had him.
That's where I had him.
Let's go.
Another one that was pretty agreeable for the most part. Him being number 37. I mean, we've talked a lot about his improvement, his 3-point shot really just skyrocketing since going to Boston.
Olympian.
Elite defender.
Yeah.
Elite.
Amazing guard. Amazing guard defender. The best in the NBA. The best shot blocking guard in the NBA.
That's a real guy.
Great inbound putback guy.
Bro, it was one play. Chill, will ya?
Game 7. Game 6.
Yeah. All right, number 36, we've got one of Derek White's actually a former teammate of his from San Antonio. We've got DeJounte Murray, just recently traded from the Hawks to the New Orleans Pelicans, of course.
Oh, so close.
Yeah, we actually all had him around the same range, except Nick had him at number 43, which I can understand.
I can.
Underwhelmed,
I
bit of
almost
an
had him.
underwhelming season for DeJounte, but we talked about him a lot in the Atlanta Hawks this past season.
DeJounte was another one of those guys who I just kept moving down the list and ended up maybe forgetting him a little bit.
Yeah. He's definitely higher than Trae Young on my list, though.
Oh
That's where you stop talking.
Hey,
Don't start.
Trey is coming up pretty soon on here, but still a couple more players to go before we get to him. Number
Hey, Joey,
35.
you're banished from talking forever.
Number 35,
I'm
we've
fine
got
with that.
Karl Anthony Towns.
Oh, I had him way low. Oops.
Yeah, this is a guy, Jackson, before the podcast, actually, before the pre-pod lobby, he was like, man, Miles, I think Cat might be a little borderline for me. We'll see if he even makes the list.
Zesty. He's zesty.
You guys got any thoughts?
Not an argument.
Dude, I don't respect someone who's got to change his voice all the time. He never has the
Oh,
same
it's a
voice.
Tyrese Halliburton, my man.
Yeah, that's why he's low on my list too.
We're talking about like fantasy value.
Dude, I didn't even put him that low. I put him at 44 on my revamped list. Chill, will ya?
That is pretty low.
Oh my gosh, cry me a river.
Goglin hates the Timberwolves, confirmed.
Dude, they lost when he scored 60. He's not that valuable. He's like Julius, but a little better.
But he still dropped 60 in an NBA game.
Joel Embiid dropped 70. That doesn't mean he's good.
So, because Michael Jordan dropped 69 in a playoff game and also lost, is he not good either?
Dude, he is overrated. Don't even get me started on this conversation right now. Actually, he's so overrated.
Michael Jordan?
Go watch tape of when he played, dude. It's embarrassing.
And I was the one who was banished for talking.
Yes,
This is okay.
And I was the.
I'm gonna watch some Michael Jordan tape. It's just gonna be a plumbing video.
I think you need to, Goglin.
It's just a plumbing video.
Oh my goodness! All right, let's
does
go.
not know ball past the last 10 years.
All right, number 34 is DeMar DeRozan, the forgotten man for
Yeah.
honestly, a
sorry
lot of
about
us.
that.
I almost forgot to add him to the top 50 list. You guys forgot to add him on your list. He's just the forgotten man, and he's probably going to seek revenge out now that he's with the Sacramento Kings. He's
He was
going to
on
go
my
crazy.
I had him at 32.
I absolutely love DeMar DeRozan. I always have. I loved him in Toronto. I loved him in San Antonio. He was still a baller and a super clutch player in Chicago, and he's going to do the same thing in Sacramento.
So
this is my apology to DeMar DeRozan. I never thought I would ever forget you in a million years, but it happened. I apologize.
You did, and you're gonna live with that for the rest of your life.
No, I can attest. Joey's always liked DeMar. Used him on 2K a lot growing up. Joey's a DeMar guy, long time. I don't know how he forgot him. I forgot him too, though.
Big DeMar fan.
But he does end up making the list at a decent spot. I mean, the fact that a guy like DeMar DeRozan is at 34 on the list shows how stacked the league is kind of at this point with talent at the top, and how, we as fans are really in good hands with all of these great players coming up on the list. Number 33 is Brandon Ingram, another one of the more agreeable players. Nick and Joey, you actually both had Ingram at number 33.
Let's go, buddy.
So they got this. They got this one. Jackson had him at 30, and I had him at 36. Ironically enough, Jackson, the guy who's most like Ingram. Oh, Ingram got locked up in the playoffs, and he had him higher than the rest of us. But you still had him higher than the rest of us. It's funny how that works.
Well, I'm looking at a lot of people behind him, and there wasn't like a crazy amount of playoff success behind him. So, it's really
he had playoff success the first time he was there.
Well, yeah, but
Ingram's
wasn't last year.
Ingram's been, really, really good. I mean, Ingram's another guy that gets thrown around a lot, especially in the trade machine. We, maybe getting moved from the Pelicans this offseason, now looking like he might stay there. But, 33, I mean, he's still a great, great, great basketball player that can do a lot of different things on the floor. Number 32 is where we have Trae Young.
Low. Boo, bro. This is way too low.
That's way too
high. I had him at 36.
Way too high. Way too high. Mid-40s.
I'm with you, Nick. I'm with you, Nick.
Miles, where
this
did you
is kinda
have him?
crazy. So for the full breakdown, this is one of the players with the most controversy amongst us four. Nick had him as high as 22. I got him 26. Jackson 36. Joey 43.
You guys are way more far off than me and Miles are.
Dude, I had him at 36. That's not that bad.
Yeah, that's 10 off of Miles. I'm only 4 off of Miles, and it's 7 off of Joey, who's like eons away from me or Miles.
Oh man, I'm sorry. I'm not going to give it to a guy who shoots the league average from 3 and averages 4.5 turnovers a game.
This
Really?
is great.
Really?
Now that I've
'Cause-
mentioned this league average from 3 thing, you guys are just going to use it.
Let's wait.
Even though 37 on 9 attempts and the type of shots he shoots is ridiculous. Like, I've mentioned it before with Trae Young. Like, I don't put the Hawks' disappointing year last year. I don't put a lot of that on Trae Young because
Well,
he
you
did
also love
he did
Trae Young.
show improvements, on the defensive end as well. Usually he just gets, mulled over, known as the worst defender in the league. He showed a lot more effort this season and was a lot better on that end of the floor. So that's why I had him higher. I'm sure that's why Nick had him a lot higher too. And just because he's a guy that I mean, you see his numbers. He gives you 26 and 11 per game. I mean,
43.
look, I mean,
Joey.
I'm gonna look up the numbers from this season on the fact of the Hawks offense this season. Because to me, when I think of Trae Young, I think of a guy that is going to automatically make your team one of the top offenses in the league.
Yeah.
All right, so when
You have to guard him
Fred
right on his hip anywhere on the floor. That's called spacing.
Fred VanVleet for Trae.
Bro, he can shoot it from 35, and then he can also rack up 20 assists on any given night.
He might be the first not the first person. I won't go that crazy, but I could definitely see him having a quadruple double this year.
That would be nuts.
But with turnovers.
Yeah,
with turnovers. He had a career. His second. This is like the second career high of his turnovers. He averaged 5 turnovers his second year in the league, and this year was 4.5.
Why are we dwelling on the past right now?
He had I don't know, man. I guess I have higher hopes for Trae Young ever since he went into Madison Square Garden and just dipped his balls on the court. But I don't know, man. I have higher expectations for Trae. He is a top 5 point guard to me, and this year he did not play like it though.
He said Madison Square Garden. Golden.
Definitely fair. Goglin, stop giggling. Stop giggling. Number 30. We'll get. All right. I guess you can smile now. Number 31 is Alperon Şengün. Number 31 on the list.
Jackson, where did you have your savior?
31. Right on the money.
This is where I had Karl Anthony Towns. I had LP at 36.
I had him a little. I had him just inside of the top 30.
Are we getting to Chet soon?
Yes, we are. Don't worry.
Chet's this far down? What?
I was about to say I kind of forgot about Chet because I had him higher.
He's at 38 on mine.
Oh my god. Hold on. Let's move on. I think I made a malfunction with my math real quick. Hold on. I'll rearrange this list once we figure out the rest of it. Number 30 is Lauri Markkanen for now. Let me quickly. You guys talk about Lauri because I know that was like Nick's player that I.
Nick, you kept asking us where did we have Lauri right in the pre-pod lobby. So where did you have Lauri?
He's a confounding player. He's a very confounding player because he's been in Utah since he's been in Utah. He's pretty much changed the player that his reputation in the league, and I just don't know how sustainable that's going to be in the situation that Utah is in. Like his future is a little bit uncertain to me, and I don't know. Like he's just still a bit unproven, but also like really really, like no one saw it coming. Like almost like Jalen Brunson in that sense. Like the way that he's kind of just come out of nowhere and really like reshaped his entire image reputation.
I completely agree. I love Lauren Markkinen. I saw the potential when he was in Cleveland. If it wasn't, I've said it before, if it wasn't for us getting Donovan Mitchell, I think we should have kept him. But because it's Donovan Mitchell, I think he kind of had to go for it. But Laurie is a fantastic player. He deserves this. I agree.
Yeah,
I had him
absolutely.
right at 30. Or no, I had him at 29, yeah.
Yep, I had him at 31. We all kind of had him at similar spots. I did figure out the Chet Holmgren fiasco. I put the wrong number next to him. So Chet Holmgren is number 36 on the list between DeJounte Murray and Derek White. And then all those players get bumped up one.
All right. Chet.
This is wrong.
Okay, who had LP above Chet other than Jackson?
Me.
Me.
I did.
What? You guys all have LP above Chet?
Absolutely.
110%.
Give me a
The
second.
argument? I mean,
Give me a second.
Alperon Şengün, you can run your offense through him.
He's handsome.
All right.
Chet
That's a good
Holmgren,
point.
you can't do that right now. I mean, and that's not his fault. He's a number 2-3 option there in OKC. He's in a better winning situation. But with that, I mean, Alperon Şengün is shown more as a number 1 option on the offensive end. It's kind of similar. It's funny because now I'm going to be using Joey's Sabonis argument thing, except for the All NBA thing. But the fact that he can be a complete, offensive, hub on that end of the floor and completely, have the Rockets run through him on that end of the floor. It is impressive. It is impressive. I'm not sure if you can do that with Chet Holmgren yet. And if it doesn't really matter at this point, it's Chet Holmgren's rookie season.
But what about the historic clip that Chet was shooting at to start the year? And also the defensive capabilities he has on the other end, whereas LP is obviously much limited. I mean, Chet started the year 50, 40, 90.
Yeah,
but
did he
Wait,
still
you're
get up?
90? No, because he's a scrub.
So I
Well,
think that
he's
the
also
Chet-
never played a full NBA season before.
Yeah,
And
he was very impressive. The Chet shooting numbers, it's a lot easier to do that on especially the 3-point shooting at 37% when you're getting plays made for you by other guys a lot of the time, like Shea, Josh. Alperon Şengün in the post, he's having to do a lot of work for himself at 54% from the field. And Chet can create his own shot a little bit, but he's just not asked to do that as much as Şengün. I mean, 21 points, 9 boards, 5 assists is legit. I mean, he's got Chet on all those accounts, jumping up and being that player.
All right. I guess that's fair.
I don't know. Chet or
I got Chet above LP.
Şengün is the Turkish Jokic, and being compared to a multiple-time MVP is huge. Chet is just the American Wemby. Wemby hasn't done anything in the NBA yet, so.
Well, we'll get to Wemby a little bit later, but Chet could jump up over Şengün as soon as next season. Like a lot of these, where you still have some Celtics players to get to. Obviously, Kristaps Porzingis probably being the guy. If OKC wins a championship next season and Chet has a big role in that team, Chet could jump up a whole lot of spots just because he was an impact player on a championship team. That's kind of what we're seeing with some of these guys on this list.
Wait, so you're saying LP is going to be top 10 next year?
Yes.
No, absolutely not.
Top contributor on the championship team?
Of the G League? Shout out. All right, number 20. So we got 21. We talked about Şengün at 30, Markkinen now at 29. So now Pascal Siakam falls in at number 28 on the list.
It's not bad.
Yeah, not bad for Pascal Siakam. I think this is right around where he probably has been for the last few seasons. But just his performance in the playoffs was spectacular. And that really is what jumps him up a lot on this list.
That's kind of why I put him a little higher. I still had him in the 20s, but I had him a little higher. But that's pretty much just because he kind of carried that team all the way to the conference finals.
Pascal Siakam above Trae Young is – I can't put my stamp on that.
How many points per game did Trae Young average in the playoffs last year?
It was like he played one game.
I
He didn't
don't
play
like
squad.
that argument. I hate that argument, dude. You should use that with Victor. Like Victor Wembanyama shouldn't be above most of this list because he hasn't played a playoff game.
No, he is the playoffs, bro. Chill.
Who's 27?
Yeah.
27 is where we have Paolo Banchero.
It's so
Now, okay, so this is the player. This is the player that by far had the most discrepancy from rankings. From me to Joey, we had.
I was say.
All right, go ahead.
I want to apologize because when doing this list, I do love Paolo. I had him really low. That is my fault. He should have been higher.
Where was he on your list? Be honest.
High 30s.
So I will expose the ranking. So I may have had him super high because I had him high on my top 10 rankings. I had him at number 15. That is very high.
I was a little behind.
Jackson had him at 19, so not super far off. But then Nick had him at 34. Joey had him at 39. So a very wide range of placements for Paolo Banchero.
If I had more time to dedicate to this week, and I could have done my list a little better, I would probably put him in like right around that 30 range, but not top 20.
You're banned from drafting him next year in fantasy.
I will take him with the number 1 pick, and you can't stop me.
Oh, I will stop you. The sweet chin music.
I will say Paolo at 15 is crazy. I will say that is very, very high. I based a lot of this off of his playoffs because I was just so impressed by him in his first playoffs at 21 years old, doing the types of things he did. I mean, 27 points, 9 boards, 4 assists, asked to do literally everything for the Magic because the Cavs' defensive game plan was basically to let everybody shoot because no one really on the Magic was a perimeter threat, and Paolo was the only guy that could consistently give them anything. He was their main reason they were really in this series. The fact that he averaged 27 points in a playoff series when he also had a 9-point game shows you how great he was the rest of the series. Like in the 2 most important games of the series, both in Cleveland, games 5 and 7, 39 points in game 5, and in his first ever game 7, 38 points and 16 rebounds. Immaculate. So that's why I had him super high, but I'm not mad at this spot at all.
Now, my list is all sorts of messed up, and just to let you know, I had Franz Wagner ahead of Paolo, even though I 110% believe that Paolo is way better than Franz Wagner, but that's how screwed up my list is. I told you.
There's not even an excuse for that one. That's wild.
I've already given you as many excuses as I can, Goglin. You pick one. Pick
Franz
one.
Can't hit water if he fell out of a boat.
Neither could you.
God, pull up the clips, Miles. Pull up the clips from outside basketball.
Oh,
on the court.
All outside.
Pull up the shooting competition right now.
Okay, let's keep the list rolling. Over Paolo, number 26, we've got Dame Damian Lillard, falling at this spot right here. Another pretty agreeable spot at this point.
Let's go.
I had him just one lower at 27. Nick had him a little higher at number 21. But again, proven guy who's set for big things in his second year now with Milwaukee. He was recently on, I think, Jeff Teague's podcast. Is that the Club 520 podcast? I don't remember the exact name.
He's a goofball
for Jeff Teague. But anyway, he talked about the how this year was kind of a struggle for him with Milwaukee. Him going through the divorce during the offseason. The trade obviously happens like 2 days before training camp starts, and learning how to play with Giannis. It was just a rough year for him, and he still, was great in the playoffs when he was able to play. Had his Dame Dalla moments during the regular season. So 26 is still respectable for Damian Lillard.
I can't wait to put him higher next year once he has his head right and he finally has a year under his belt in Milwaukee.
Dude, he still has the same coach. He's not doing squat next year.
I think we should pause for effect for the top 25. I can't believe there's one guy in here. I can't believe Zion made it in the top 25.
Really?
Yeah.
You think that?
Why?
Zion
It's
is
a great year.
barely gonna make it. He is gonna make this top 25 list. But before we get to him, we have back-to-back Sacramento Kings. We have De'Aaron Fox at 25, Domantas Sabonis at number 24, right next to each other. We had a long, nice debate about Domantas Sabonis in the last video, but I think this is good. I mean, Sabonis and Fox being right here, top 25. That Kings fans should be happy with that they're both right there.
Yeah, that's not bad. I mean, it's perfect for both of them, honestly.
I had De'Aaron Fox lower, but Domantas Sabonis higher just because all NBA teams.
I got them both lower. I hate the Kings.
Well, we
Dude,
we
swear
do
to you-
know how Nick feels about the Sacramento Kings, so I mean, it makes sense.
I swear to you, if
Well,
If,
with
like-
DeMar now, they have 3 top 35 players.
Yeah, they do. They definitely do. That could.
if a
That could
Brick
set
was
them
named to
up.
All NBA third team, Joey would have him at number 3 on his list. I'm not even kidding. Joey loves the All NBA teams.
I brought up the DeAndre Jordan All NBA first team thing.
I mean that he was the best center, probably. of all-
No way! Oh my gosh,
Dude, have you
The-
seen his Instagram? He's hilarious.
the disrespect to
dude.
Boogie Cousins.
Dude, I
my
love
goodness.
that dude. He's so funny.
Oh, I love Boogie Cousins.
Boogie Cousins is great too.
Where's he on this list?
He recently did a podcast with a Draymond Green. That was fun. Him talking about the GFF Sacramento Kings at the time.
What about him insulting that one reporter the one time?
One time.
Well, it was multiple times, but you know what I'm saying.
Okay, number 23 is where we do have Zion. So he does make this spot on here. Nick, you and I both had him at 29. Jackson and Joey 21 and 20 respectively. So falls right in the middle at number 23. I mean, he had a durable season. Had a very durable season this year.
For our top 20, we should all just say like hours for each and then just briefly talk. Because my top 20.
It's already been 40 minutes recording.
We'll
I
just
think
keep
we're going
going.
at
We
a good pace.
Yeah, no, we're going at a good clip. I say we just keep going.
If we have any that we want to talk about, we can talk about it. It's that simple. 22 is where we have Bam. Actually, back-to-back Miami Heat players. 22 is Bam. 21 is Jimmy Butler.
Wait, what?
Two guys that actually when you did the averages, they actually both tied. So technically, they're
Okay.
all even at the number 21 spot. Butler and Bam right there. But more of us had. I think, what did I base this off of? Because Nick, you had him in your top 20. You had him at number
Yes.
19. Jimmy is higher than Bam on this list because he did have a higher ranking. So yeah, Butler and Bam, 21, 22.
Top 25 players, both of them.
I
Now
actually have Jimmy Butler at 30, but it's or 29, but it's okay.
I had
Yeah,
them both lower, so it's okay.
number 20 is where we have Kristaps Porzingis, made it top 20 on the list. I'm the only one that kind of brought this down a little bit. I had him as low as 28.
I had him
But
at
the
That's
rest
fair.
of 20, 18, and 19. I mean, again, impact on a championship team cannot be, overstated. Nick, you said he was the biggest part of the Celtics jumping up to that, championship status. I would probably agree with that. Because of how he unlocked everything. So I like this spot for Kristaps Porzingis. Number 19, where you have the most improved player, Tyrese Maxey, jumping all the way to 19
I got him way higher.
on the list. Yeah. What do you
It's
guys
a good
think about
spot
this?
for him. No, I think that's a good spot for him. I was interested to see if he was going to be higher or lower than Paul George because on my list, I literally had Paul George one spot higher. Kind of like how we're talking about with the Kings and with the Heat now. But yeah, that's interesting. I think that's a good spot for Tyrese.
I agree.
Mine's controversial then. If
Yeah.
that-
Where'd you put him at?
I had him at 12. I'm not even
I mean, that was what I had him at the beginning of last year.
at the beginning of last year. Don't even.
That's what's crazy.
But
Wait, where did you have Jokic or Doncic last year at the beginning of the year?
21. That's where Nick had him.
23 at that. Man, that was a. But speaking of Paul George, he is next. We have another tie here at 18.
Oh, let's go.
with a couple of number 2 options on their previous teams. We have Paul George and Kyrie Irving at tied for number 18. We both, had them right around the same spot. I think it makes a lot of sense. They both give, similar impact to their teams. I personally had Kyrie one spot higher because I thought, the finals and him playing so well, at certain points, and Paul George kind of disappearing at the end of the series. But they're both like right there for the same tier of player.
Yeah, I mean, I had them back to back at 18 and 19, but I just had Paul George ahead of Kyrie, which I mean they're pretty interchangeable. It's just
I like our
that's
list
fun.
so far, fellas. I'm just scared about what is going to happen. Top 10.
I would say the real list is the top 25. Me in the backhand, I don't want to talk about it anymore.
This is where it gets interesting. So number 17 is where we've got Victor Wembanyama, Rookie of the Year, making number 17 on the list. Shout out, actually, it recently announced that the Spurs play-by-play announcer, Bill Land, he's going to be done broadcasting after 21 seasons. So, unfortunately, we're not going to have any more catchphrases of, oh, mama, Wembanyama. We're going to have to do it a lot during
my math is not mathing. Didn't all of you, besides me and Maya, didn't you two have Bam below him in your rankings?
in the top.
Or you had Bam above him in your rankings, and
Listen, man, change of heart. You rethink things.
I did not have Bam higher.
I had
than
Wemby. I had Wemby 20th on my list here.
I actually had
don't think he's
Wemby at
better than-
21.
I
don't think he's
Miles,
better
where
than-
do you have him? I have him
I
at
had him at
22.
I had him at 16. I had him at 16. I had him
Yeah, so he's 17.
super duper high, so it puts him up at a 17 because these top 16 players, there was a lot of variability of different
Yeah.
spots. So the averages kind of got a little bit wonky. So that's why Wemby ends up at this spot over here. Now, number 16, we've got Tyrese Halliburton cracking the top 16. Another super agreeable spot, actually. I had him the lowest. I had him 19, but then Jackson 16, Nick 15, Joey 14. So all across the line, we all had him at a, pretty solid point.
All NBA team.
Golly.
Shut up, the All-NBA team.
So bad. Dude. They should get rid of those now.
Just because of me.
No, seriously.
All right, so the top 15, we have Kawhi Leonard at 15.
I'm glad that he slid in there. I think he deserves a top 15 spot.
I'm
I
glad
actually
he
had
made
him.
it too.
That's
had him at
crazy because I
14.
had him at 16, Kawhi, and Hallie at 15. But I'm actually glad that by average that they flipped. Because I'm always wrong. So
Well, you just had a Halliburton and Kawhi switched on your list, Nick. So I mean, it's not
right.
crazy. All right, so now number 14, we've got Donovan Mitchell.
Right, yeah, I just had them flip-flopped.
It's the first time in my life I've ever had a Cavs superstar higher than the average. I had him at 12.
I had Donovan at 15 on my new and improved. I had him at 16.
Okay, you guys really think Jalen Brunson's better than Donovan?
Yeah,
You ain't ready.
Yeah,
I'd
say so.
by far.
I don't know.
I mean, see, it's tough because my heart says yes, Donovan is better than Brunson.
Princess?
But I mean, I can't take into account that there were back-to-back playoff series where Brunson beat Mitchell and was better than him. So I kind of got to go Brunson is better. Plus his playoffs this last year.
I would argue that the Knicks had a better squad both times, but
True. But
First time?
when the Mavs beat the Jazz that year, when Luka was out the first few games, they did not have the better team.
As much as I love Donovan, I actually had him lower on this list, and it's purely because of availability. His stats are perfect. He should be top 15. I had him at 18, and it's purely because of availability. He played 5 more games than our cutoff. He only played 55 games, and he was out for the playoff for a bunch of the games and was not himself for the playoff series, which definitely hurt our chances and why we got bounced.
That doesn't...
Well, not reason we got bounced, but didn't help.
It was mainly the injury. I mean, the final, he was great in the Boston series. Like I strongly think that series is different if Donovan Mitchell is healthier because he was just that amazing. But
Agreed, fully
Yeah,
agreed. But
he's the best
availability
player
is
on the team.
part
availability
of
is
what it is.
very, very important. All right, number 13, we've got Devin Booker. Devin Booker,
Ooh.
it's only right that Booker and Mitchell, in my opinion, are right near each other because it seems like ever since Donovan Mitchell has, blossomed into this all-star type player, Booker and Mitchell are always, compared because they are very similar players. But we're going off last season. Devin Booker, one spot over Donovan Mitchell.
His playmaking improved so much. Like, I was actually pleasantly surprised last year to see how he kind of like blossomed into that, like, not full point guard role, but like he like kind of embraced at least that he knew he had to play make.
Devin Booker is turning into a complete NBA player. His offense was already astounding. Like you said, Goglin, his playmaking last year took it to a new level when he had to be the point guard. And then this Olympics, where he turned on his defense and became a defensive stopper for the team. Like, I cannot wait to see Devin Booker next year.
Yeah, I mean, he's always been a pretty like underrated facilitator, but this year it's just his numbers are looking better because he had to do it more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that I had him at 13. That's where we're at right now, right? So
Yep, same as
I'm
me, Joey, 16. Nick, you had him at number 8. And this is something I wanted to ask, I guess, Joey and Jax, because we had him at, similar spots. You mentioned, Joey, Devin Booker is turning into a complete basketball player, can do everything offensively. He's shown at times where he can really, guard up, press up, and be a good defender. What is preventing him from being higher on this list?
Nothing. He's at 8. Duh.
okay,
That's why I was asking the other two.
Yeah, sorry.
I mean, for me, I don't know. It's just the people in front of him have the like he didn't perform that well in the first round. I mean, he had a stat padded 50-point game.
True.
But I mean, so that brought him down a little bit. That's why I have I'm just gonna spoil it. I have his teammate Kevin Durant down to 12 because KD, you could tell he took a little bit of a step back this year. I mean, it wasn't like a super large step back, but he like wasn't the usual KD. I mean, in the Olympics, it's different, but I already told Miles I didn't take the Olympics into account.
Yeah.
Much.
No, I was strictly NBA season and playoffs as well. But for me, yeah, Devin Booker, I think next year he could be ahead of these people.
Dallas is calling BS.
Dallas. We already know what happens when Devin Booker gets mentioned with Dallas. So I
That's
guess
Yeah,
true.
that is my bad. I shouldn't.
it makes a lot of sense. But yeah, Devin Booker. Honestly, I think for him to get higher on this list, it's really about how the Suns can perform next season. I think that's the only thing that's kind of preventing him from being a little bit higher on this list. But super, great season as Dallas is getting a scolding right now by Joey right there. So at number 12 is the Finals MVP, Jaylen Brown.
What?
Yeah, no. Why? What? What do you mean? What?
I mean, I didn't have him too much. I had him at 8, so like I ain't worried.
I ain't worried. Well, yeah, Jaylen Brown, number 12. I mean, I think this is decent. Very, very good for Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, the Celtics have 3 top 20 players.
Yeah, as they should, as the champions.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it's not terrible.
All right, number
Sorry
11.
about that. Where was Jaylen Brown at?
Jaylen Brown was number 12.
Sorry, my roommate just got home, so the dogs were going crazy.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown had to put down Dallas. Just like
That's not what his roommate did. Nope, he just had to talk. He just had to scold Dallas, not that other thing you just said.
It was both dogs going crazy, but it is what it is.
All right, number 11 is Anthony Davis, falling outside of the top 10 here, and this is basically where we all had him, except Joey had him at number 7, a little bit higher. The rest of us had him at 10 to 11 range.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, Joey having him higher, it's not terrible. It's not crazy. In my
Joey,
opinion.
did you have him over LeBron?
I did.
See, now that's interesting.
That is interesting.
I did.
I don't hate it. I don't absolutely hate it. I don't
can't-
agree, but I'm not gonna shy you away from.
They're like 2
Yeah,
spots
I
away
agree.
from each other. It's not that you could easily interchange them both. I
We
don't.
can't say that the Lakers have 2 top 10 players though,
Why
No,
not?
right, Davis had to
because
be
he's
out.
number 11.
Well, he can
Oh,
on
that's
his
true.
individual.
On my list, I can say that.
But we are now in the top 10 of our combined list. So I guess before we even get into it, Nick, let's start with you. What are you most interested in finding out about this top 10?
Well, I heard from a little birdie that 2 of our fellow co-hosts have a certain Minnesota Timberwolf in the top
Yup, squawk,
5.
squawk, bruh. I told
As
you.
he
Which-
should be.
I mean,
Squawk,
this dude
squawk.
he's only 22 years old, bro.
And
I
he's the 5th best player in the NBA. Next.
I would put LeBron James in the top 3 players when he was 22.
Okay.
mean, okay, now you're comparing Anthony Edwards to LeBron James.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Backtrack.
Like
he already
in
gets
the
the
most
comparisons to MJ.
fundamental way.
I mean,
He gets meme comparisons because he looks like his son.
no, because he plays like him, son.
Jackson, what are you interested in finding out about our top 10 list?
If everyone stuck to their position rankings, which I did perfectly,
Ooh.
by the way.
Ooh, interesting. Joey, anything with you?
I am curious at where we have the 3rd best Celtic, actually. Now that we have all the other Celtics listed, I'm curious
So-
where the 3rd
so
best Celtic is.
Why is he not behind the other 2 on your list then, sir? Yeah.
All right.
all NBA teams. That's why.
Oh my
All right, let's get into it. So first, number 10, we've got Steph Curry still making the top 10 list.
Haters, man. I had him at 7. What?
I had a low.
Where'd you have? And you
13.
talking all that smack about me. And where you're getting. Oh my god.
So Steph Curry making the number 10. Still Steph Curry, clutch player of the year. We've talked about him a lot. Number 9, Jalen Brunson, back-to-back point
Underrated.
guard.
Underrated.
Where did you have him, Goglin?
6?
That's a little
wait.
high, brother.
No, wait. 7.
They had him 7.
Technically, yeah.
So yeah, it's Curry and Brunson back-to-back making the top, or cutting the edge for the 9 and 10 spots. Now, number 8 is Kevin Durant. Still staying into this list. I mean, Jackson, you mentioned him falling off, not looking as much like KD, and it's still 27, 6, and 5 on near 50, 40, 90 splits, playing
Yeah,
75 games. Like,
Yeah.
this dude is still ridiculous, man. Like,
Oh yeah, I'm not saying he isn't. I'm just he was he underwhelmed me in the playoffs for sure. That's why I had him a little lower. It's just my opinion. I mean, I don't know.
That's fair. That's definitely fair. I wish that it's weird because it's Kevin Durant, but I wish he shot more. That was my thing. He consistently only got up like 15 shots, 16, 17 shots. You need more if you're gonna, be successful from your best player.
Very true.
Number 7 is where we have the king, LeBron James, the 7th best player in the NBA, now at 39 years old.
That's his number.
I can't take it, bro, that we have Bron. I have Bron above Ant.
I do too, absolutely.
Thank you. I knew I wasn't crazy.
How?
I actually don't get that.
Because
I-
LeBron James
What?
is still better than Ant.
How? In what regard? Playmaking, that's it.
No,
What do
bro.
you mean in what regard? I trust LeBron more in getting a bucket because it's LeBron James. Absolutely, from all areas, I trust him. Okay.
If you're gonna tell me that if LeBron James was on the Timberwolves, that team wins. They at least take Boston to 7 in the finals. I mean,
No, they don't. No, they don't.
they're okay.
Okay, they're at least gonna beat the Dallas Mavericks.
Ant beat down on the Celtics every time they played them this season.
That has nothing to do with what I said about LeBron being on the Timberwolves.
All I know is that if Ant Edwards was on the Lakers, they wouldn't make the playoff, and LeBron James on the Lakers didn't make the playoffs.
They
That was-
did.
Did they?
What? What? Are you drunk?
Did they? I thought they got out of the play-in.
Oh my goodness gracious!
Yeah,
Oh,
they got out of the play-in.
This
That
is
means
what
they
we
made the
mean. The
playoffs.
LeBron disrespect
They
is.
got knocked out in the play-in, didn't
No,
they?
I'm not. Okay, guys, listen.
No,
I'm
they
not even like.
won the play.
I had them one spot apart. It was literally they were 5 and 6 for me. Let's calm down.
I still think Ant over LeBron is crazy, especially if you look at their stats, because I know sometimes we're big stats guys. LeBron beat Ant in every statistical category
crazy.
besides free throw percentage and points per game, which was by
Let me tell you this as well.
Ant is also
Points per game.
the best defensive player in the top 10.
You tell me LeBron's not a good defender?
What?
Actually, no. Giannis is 1.
Okay, thank you.
Then give me Ant at 2.
Okay, Anthony Edwards in PER and win shares, which are like the two most telling advanced stats, tied 36th in PER, tied 29th in win shares.
Well, I wonder what LeBron would have been in those.
Top 10 every single year of his career, bro. Like,
Also, I will admit I am crazy. I just looked at the playoffs bracket. I am sorry.
No, LeBron went crazy in the playoffs still too. He had some crazy moments in those games too. Like LeBron, this is exactly what I was saying a couple episodes ago when talking about LeBron and AD about their performances last season and in the Olympics. Like the fact that the Lakers management has not been able to really improve this team to where they are still irrelevant to the point where one of our established co-hosts thinks they did not make the playoffs.
I also just hate LA. It is very known that I hate LA and New York. So
what is this guy?
LeBron was 6th in PER and 17th in win shares.
Dang.
Dude, I mean, they're like right next to each other. It doesn't like one
I
spot.
don't like it at all though.
as I said,
Anthony Edwards is a career. He shoots
Anthony
below
Edwards was
the
just-
league average from 3-point range. He shoots 46% on twos when he's not shooting below the league average on three. Like he takes 20 shots a night and only averages 25 points a game.
It's because Rudy's big dumbass is clogging up the paint.
To have him top
What
5
does
is
that
a
have
little
to do with anything?
I will say, going on my favorite website, the Versus Finder, the only thing Ant Edwards has on LeBron is free throw percentage, points per game by 0.2, and 8 more games played this season. LeBron has everything else.
Like I just don't even think it's close.
Ant is one
It
of
is
the
kind
best.
of shocking.
To me,
I actually might have to flip.
To me, this
Go
is a
ahead, you flip. I'm not
premature
moving.
ranking. This is a premature ranking if Ant is
Well, I mean,
over
I also
LeBron.
took into account a little bit of next season, like projecting for next season. It's not like I just.
Oh, then you're not following the list.
Oh yeah, like
The list
at
is
least the all
specifically
NBA.
talking about last year.
It's just top 50 players in the NBA, and I think Ant is better than LeBron.
This is gonna be a highlight of this podcast that we will.
I might have been
look at
premature
years
with Ant.
I'm not. I don't think
Sorry.
I am. Ant is better than LeBron James right now.
I am. This isn't the Jackson Goglin show. I'm saying I
Yes, it is.
am flipping. I never said you are flipping. I never said you had to flip. I'm saying I may have to flip.
I would never flip my commitment.
Well, at least they are. I mean, if we're gonna be this close on it, at least they are right next to each other. LeBron at 7, Ant is at 6, which I still think is crazy. But I still think the league may look at it like this because of all the games that the Timberwolves are getting, which is great because he is great for the league. By no means by saying all this stuff about LeBron over Anthony Edwards am I saying that Anthony Edwards is not a great basketball player. He is amazing. He was great in the playoffs, legendary type stuff for a young guy. I mean, he brought a ton of life to social media. He's a fan favorite across the league. He's a great player. But maybe next year he is higher. But I'm not taking one playoff run on a team that had a lot of great surrounding players and taking it over LeBron, who didn't really have the best supporting cast besides AD.
I'm glad we had that argument though, because these next 5 guys should all be not controversial in the least bit. Like they're pretty
4 people. Wait.
It's pretty clear cut. All 5 of these guys in their respective spots, I think.
So, all right. So number 5 is where we have Jason Tatum.
Jason Tatum, everybody together.
Yep.
Number 4. Okay, so I think 4. We all
I'll
have
see the
Nikola
last
Jokic. We all have Nikola Jokic at number 1. 2,
Yes.
3, and 4 is where it gets very interesting. So number
Oh.
4 is Giannis
Shea.
Antetokounmpo.
No way.
Giannis
No
Antetokounmpo at number 4.
He's 2.
All right, here I'll list these off, and then we can discuss after. I'll read them all off. So number 4, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Number 3 is Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and number 2, Luka Doncic. Number 1, Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, I
Jackson,
don't see how.
Jackson, your face is clearly cherry rockets red.
Dude,
You can go ahead
Dude.
and explain your thoughts on that 4.
how is Giannis not number 2? He's actually underrated at this point. He is so good. He's the only one besides. I mean, Shea's a good defender. Giannis is literally a top 3 defender in the NBA while averaging 30. Was it like 30, 12, and like 5
6.5.
assists?
Yeah,
That's
true.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's insane. And he played 73 games. He missed the playoffs, but like,
That's why.
Yeah, I
have him
can't
off.
understand. How is he at 4? I think he should be at least above Shea.
least.
Yeah,
I think
he should be above Shea.
I have Luka at 4, in my opinion. I think the
I'm not
playoffs.
upset with that. Honestly, 2, 3, 4, 3, and 4. They're all very interchangeable for me.
Like-
I don't really have an argument against them. It's based on feeling and gut.
Watching Luka not play defense in the playoffs, like, it made me like rethink how I thought of him as a player. Because yeah, he does all the offensive stuff, but if you want to be a top 3 guy, you need to be good on both ends of the floor. Unless your name is Nikola Jokic and you do everything else.
And he's still good defensively. Like I'll keep saying, he's
Yeah, Nikola is not bad defensively either. But Luka, it was embarrassing how bad he was defensively. It was atrocious.
that was why in the top 10 point guards I had Shea over Luka because
Me
of
too.
that very reason. And Jackson, you agreed with me on that front as well. The Giannis thing, him being number 4. Let's see. This is where I had him. This is where Joey had him as well. I think, it just shows how great the talent was in the league last season. I mean, Giannis 30, 11, and 6. But I mean, the Bucks, they did struggle for a large, part of the season. Their coach was fired. And I even remember, Joey, when you and I did podcasts when Adrian Griffin got fired, we put, some of that on Giannis as the leader of that team because they shouldn't have been in the position to where they needed to fire their coach 40 games into the season.
I heard Giannis was the one who didn't want him though at the beginning of the season.
It doesn't. I hate to say
He
it.
did,
It really
though. He
doesn't
wanted them to sign.
matter. It doesn't matter. He's a former MVP. He's a former NBA champion. He's a former defensive player of the year. You are the leader of this team. If your team struggles, you get the blame. Don't care who it is. Don't care how good you are. It was the same thing for when LeBron was in Cleveland and anywhere else he's been. If he is the best player and he is leading that team and they are not doing well, you get the blame. That's just how it is.
I mean, has LeBron been getting knocked down every time? He's had coaches fired too, and I feel like he's still like. Let's not.
And we all call him Le GM, and he's the reason why. Like, we still put the blame on him.
His rankings knocked down for it.
I mean, so Giannis, I think. Well, another thing too. I mean, not his fault that he got injured the last couple of weeks of the season, but no playoff games. It also. I wish we could have seen him in the playoffs because then him not playing in the playoffs in a first round exit because of it kind of leaves a sour taste in the mouth when you look at these other 3 players with Shea being. I mean, you talk about two-way players. Like, obviously, he's not Giannis level defensively. No, mostly nobody is. But of star players at the guard positions, besides Anthony Edwards, Shea is about as good as you get defensively. I mean, he gives you a block a game as a guard. He gives you about 3 stocks a game, 2 steals, a block per game, shoots 57.5% on 2-point shots, on mid-range shots, very difficult attempts. I'm just such a big Shea fan. That's why I had him. I personally had him number 2. I had the order of the MVP ranking, actually, of the season. And Luka, he's still, as much as, I talked about Luka's defense, as Goglin mentions Luka's defense. His offensive numbers were still ridiculous in the regular season, and he did, even if he did underwhelm a little bit in the finals, he still led his team to the finals. So I got to give him props for that.
Miles, you know
Well-
my crazy take about the top 5. It's not even Ant. You know where I have number 5.
Yeah, you had Ant number 5.
No,
What
where
about
did I have
Tatum?
the guy that was ranked number 5 an hour?
Where did he have Tatum?
Oh, number 11.
Yup.
Okay.
That is the biggest thing.
Why?
Yeah.
Here, let me go back to those 3 guys before we
Yeah,
want to go.
I agree.
Good call.
What I would say is when you get up to this like top 5 caliber, what I thought about the most was like your ability to dominate the game, like your ability to like take control and like be the most impactful player on the court. So I think the best person to do that is Luka. I had Luka at number 2. I think Giannis, who I had at number 3, is the next best player to do that because he is able to be like a top guy on the other end. Shea, he benefits a lot from other guys being great defenders on his team. I think he's not as good as Luka in controlling the game just yet. I don't think that he's far off from it or that he can't get there in the next year or two. And he's like, I just don't value, I guess, his ability to, stay in front of his guy as opposed to Luka, as much as I value Luka's ability to be the best player on the court. And then Giannis is kind of like somewhere in the middle there for me.
I also had Luka number 2 pretty much for that same reason. Just the way Luka dominates the game when he's out there. Like it truly is incredible to watch. Like outside of when Giannis plays and especially when him winning his MVP season and the way I've seen Jokic play the last like 5 years, yeah, you don't see that with a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. I mean, Shea and Luka, it's definitely it's so tough. It's so tough for those two guys.
I sent you the picture, Miles, and I literally had Shea crossed off at number 2. So like I was gonna put Shea 2, and I'm like, I can't. I love Luka too much.
Yeah. So this will be the last thing I say with the Shea, Luka. Then we could talk about Jason Tatum at number 11 for Jackson's list. If we're talking last season, I think the main reason I was so impressed with Shea, was because he never disappointed throughout the season. I mean, looking at his box score log, he as a guard who's taking a lot of the shots for OKC, is their number 1 option. He only had 6 games in the whole season where he shot 40% or worse from the field, and he played in 75 games. Like, that is incredible stuff, where he had 70 games of shooting, 40+% from the field, and most of those, like, good 60% of those games were over 50%. And I guess when you're able to be that reliable offensively, it's just fantastic. Luka just left a bad, taste with his playoffs, but he definitely, I'm not mad at him at number 2, and I definitely like the top of the list besides the Ant over LeBron thing. But Jackson Goglin, Jason Tatum at number 11. What? Why?
Dude, he shot so poorly when the lights were bright, and he made up for it by playmaking. But that's the same thing, like other stars did. Like other people did that too. I couldn't put him under. I couldn't put him over Jaylen Brown. I just couldn't, and I wasn't gonna put Jaylen Brown in the top 5. That's
Fair.
I mean,
I struggled. I struggled too. I just like it came down to like it's easier for me to make an argument about Jason Tatum in the top 5 than outside the top 10.
I mean, I'm just looking at my top 10. Like, Jason Tatum wasn't even the number 1 option on his team in the playoffs. That's like everyone else in my top 10.
Yeah, he was also on the best team that had 3 top 20 players and 5 top 50 players.
And he
was
was
the
the
second
number,
best.
He was the number 1 option.
But he didn't play like it. Jaylen Brown was the guy who stepped up, and Porzingis stepped up, and Jay White stepped up, and Drew Holiday played amazing. He had help. Like,
in the playoffs, Jason Tatum, if we're talking about versus, because I know that's one of Joey's favorite things to look at.
I
In the
love versus.
playoffs, for as much as we talk about Jason Tatum wasn't as good as Jaylen Brown, 25 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists per game, all higher than Jaylen Brown.
Okay.
He did a lot more. He was able to step up. If his shots weren't falling, that's fine. I'm going to go rebound and make plays for my teammates, which is something that he hasn't been able to do in the past. And that is actually something that we're kind of waiting to see from Jaylen Brown a little bit. When he doesn't have it going, he really doesn't give you that much besides maybe an athletic presence defensively. Jason Tatum, the fact that he can have a full playoff run where he's not really shooting the ball well, but still making enough impact plays to where his team can win a championship, I think that speaks to how great he has become as a player.
That's a good point.
I was gonna say, I'm looking at his playoffs from the previous years, and there are 2 years that his efficiency was worse than this year, like at least field goal percentage as a whole, and his rebounding numbers and assist numbers were not as high as this. So that, to me, that shows to what type of leader he is. Hey, I may not be shooting efficiently. I'm still going to get mine. Don't worry about it. But if I'm not shooting as efficiently, I'm going to make sure everybody else is going to be playing well, and I'm getting their shots as well. So I got to give major props to Tatum. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm just saying,
Yeah,
guys in front of him, I don't know. Like, I have Jalen Brunson in front of him because Jalen Brunson, before he got injured in the playoffs, was having a historic playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, it was insane. Steph Curry is still like, Steph didn't have any help last year, and he still was fantastic. LeBron, maybe I could have flip-flopped, like, moved him down 1 and then moved Tatum up to 6, or even moved Tatum above Ant. Maybe. But I don't know. I think Tatum, to me, I don't know.
yeah. I know we look a lot at the playoffs, and we've been talking a lot about it because that's the last thing we've seen from them in the NBA. But let's not forget that they had the best record in the whole NBA this season, and he is the number one option throughout their entire year, not Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown may have had a better playoffs than him and got the conference final, and even then it's debatable.
Yeah.
But he got the conference finals MVP and the finals MVP over Jason Tatum. But to get them their 60-plus wins throughout the whole year, Jason Tatum was extremely efficient and scored at a better clip. Like, he was the best player on the best team consistently throughout the whole year.
We'll say for the listeners, this may be one where you disagree. I mean, Jason Tatum, because of the playoff, like, Jackson's not the only one with this viewpoint that he's lower because of the playoffs. I don't think it is absolutely crazy. I mean, him being at number 5, I feel like is kind of just because he had a very good regular season and he won a championship and was still putting up, similar numbers. It's not super crazy. Not super crazy. I think just thinking that Jason Tatum is the 11th best player, the thought of that may be kind of crazy, but in actuality, I mean, it's not absolutely horrible when looking around, the rest of the league and their talent.
No, he's a confounding player for sure.
But that is the top 50 players list. What do you guys think of our first top 50 list?
I still think mine's perfect, but
I think the top 25 is the most important part of it. Clearly, from my list, the top 25, I was very similar with the rest of y'all, but outside of that, mine varied a whole lot.
Yeah, I think it was. We did a good job for the most part. We did a good job, and it was our first top 50 list. We'll probably do the same thing for as many years as we have this podcast, so it will be a lot of fun. No episode on Tuesday. I am going back to school, so no recording on Monday. That is my first day of school, but we will be back next Friday, a week from today, to start the first of 6 division breakdowns. We will talk in depth about every single team in the NBA, talking about their offseason, previewing their upcoming season. That's going to be a lot of fun to finally talk about these teams. We've spent the last couple weeks just talking about the players. We're going to get into all the teams. Let us know in the comments your thoughts on the top 50 list. Any differences in opinion that you guys may have. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe for more NBA content. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we will catch you in the next one.
Peace.
Peace.